Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to a very warm ZBA meeting at this point. And I'd like to welcome you to the July 29th, 2015 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. And Lenny, before I go further, would you sit in for Rich tonight? Thank you. And Patrick, would you read the preamble, please?
Sure. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For the benefit of those who have not attended these hearings, the procedure is as follows. The petitions will be heard in the order that they are posted in the legal notice. However, the chairman may change the order with consent of the board to expedite the public hearing as appropriate. The board will treat all petitioners, their representatives, abutters, and interested parties fairly and with respect. We allow each petitioner to state why his or her petition should be granted. Following the petitioner's statement, any abutter or interested party is allowed to speak for or against the petition. In the interest of getting all the facts, we will go around a second time. The board may elicit testimony at any point, but we cannot allow any cross-discussion. All questions must be directed to the board. Also, we ask that you do not repeat yourself or your neighbor's testimony. If you wish to just indicate concurrence, please do so. After hearing all the facts regarding the petition, the chairman will close the public hearing and the board will deliberate and vote on the petition before moving on to the next. You can expect fairness and impartiality by this board. The zoning board is empowered to legalize the breaking of the town's zoning ordinance, and this is not done lightly. State law and local ordinances set out the criteria that must be met in order for the board to grant your petition. I remind you that it is your responsibility to prove your case so that this board has justification for granting the petition. The minimum requirements are listed in the form you received from the Community Development Office, and it would be helpful if you proceed on this basis. Please turn off all cell phones. All those who are going to speak tonight in any capacity, please stand to be sworn in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. All right. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Tony?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's all yours, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. And Lynn, just to update you, Rich will not make it, so Lenny is sitting in for Rich. And on number 5, Attorney Michael, would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, if I could briefly speak.
We're just going to move that up real quickly.
Attorney Michael, on number 5, one on the agenda, we're requesting that be delayed.
Sorry.
Attorney Michael, requesting number 5 on your agenda be delayed until next month to a date certain. Tim was kind enough to forward us some information regarding that particular proposal. We want to take a close look at it. We may keep it, we may withdraw it, but what we don't want to do is waste your time with it tonight. So I would respectfully ask that we do delay that to a date certain next month. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, sir. And could I have a motion on this, please?
So moved.
Motion to move Rob Lavoie, petitioner, and Greg Kennedy, owner, appeal of an administrative decision under Section 3.02 of the zoning ordinance seeking to overturn the community development staff determination that soils-based lot size sizing does not apply to a parcel located in the R1 residential district by zoning map. The parcel is located at 8 Fuller Mill Road in the R1 residential district, tax map 4B, lot 153, case number 2015-24, to be moved to a date to be determined?
August 20th.
Oh, next date. Okay, to be moved to the August 26th meeting of the ZBA.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5. Okay. 401 with Lenny abstaining. 301, I'm sorry. Yeah, 401. We have a 5th member. Right, the first item on the agenda is Charles Morgan, petitioner. and 526 DW Highway LLC owner, requesting a special exception under Section 2.02.3C1 of the zoning ordinance to permit an accessory retail and wholesale automobile and equipment auction use within the C2 General Commercial District. The parcel is located at 526 DW Highway in the C2 General Commercial and Aquifer Conservation Districts and Wellhead Protection Area, Tax Map 5D-2, Lot 001, case number 2015-22. And you'll be speaking, sir?
Will you sign in, please?
Rick Levine here for the landowner, Charles Morgan.
And you have, let's see. All right, if you would first of all start with the special exception for the following that you filled out, please.
Excuse me, ma'am?
The form you filled out.
Yes.
If you would read through those, and then we'll go into anything you want to tell us and questions and answers.
I apologize, ma'am. Mr. Morgan has that form with him. I didn't get it this afternoon. Essentially, if I could give you an overview of what we're looking to do.
No.
Okay.
Right, do you have an extra? Let me use mine.
We have a form for you.
The reason why I said no is because we have to go by the law. You have to go word by word, and that's why.
Not a problem, sir. Special exception request. We're looking for a auction house focusing on retail and wholesale auctioning of automobiles and equipment. General business office hours Monday through Friday. Auctions being held once a week. The prior business use was an auction house for many years. Number 1A, specific site is an appropriate location for such use or uses in terms of overall community development because the use is designed for the use is designated for weekends, which will bring non-local people to the area that otherwise would not have any reason to come to the area.
All right, would you hold on in between each one? Any questions? Go ahead.
Thank you. B, the use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood because there will not be any additional development of the site for the specific use. Additionally, there will be no additional traffic that would damage changes to existing traffic patterns. The surrounding properties are commercial properties which will not be adversely affected.
Go ahead.
C, there will be no nuisance or serious hazards to vehicles or pedestrians because no changes in traffic patterns will be necessitated by the use. The general surrounding area has minimal use by pedestrians as there are no surrounding residences or retail properties nearby.
I'll get back to you on C, but go ahead with D.
Adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of proposed uses or uses because the entire site has recently undergone major upgrades both mechanically and cosmetically, both inside and outside, and will easily facilitate the attendant use.
All right, any questions for anyone?
I do.
Go ahead.
So you're talking an auction house for cars. Is this similar to the one, similar type auction house that's for cars that's right in, was it Candia?
Auburn.
The one on Auburn bypass 28. Essentially, it will be an auction house. The sole purpose will not be, or the sole product will not be automobiles. Maybe automobiles once or twice a month. It'll be a smaller auction house because of the site, less than 100 vehicles. It will not be like that. The vehicles will not be stored on the site. The majority of the stuff will be, it could be a lot of dealer trade-ins, which may come from RV places. Could be snowmobiles, ATVs, motorcycles. We may have one Saturday that will only be motorcycles, snowmobiles, ATVs. Could be RVs the next day. Could be vehicles. So once the auction's done, the lot is cleared off. The site on Bypass 28 has become
it's a nice
junkyard.
But I mean, I guess my other question is that I know that we recently approved for a manufacturing facility to be built behind this. Was that correct?
Storage, 44,000 square feet of storage.
Was it? What about? I thought there was that manufacturing facility.
That had come in, but that's not on the table any longer.
That's not on the table.
Storage, additional storage now.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I withdraw that one.
Yeah, you all set?
I didn't know there was a change on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions for
Okay.
you. On C, the surrounding area has minimal use by pedestrians as there are no surrounding residences. There are apartments right across the street.
They looked at the site, and essentially, I guess the premise was that there are no, let's say, kids or people crossing the road at this location. The traffic pattern, there's no real crosswalks per se. The pedestrian traffic is very minimal. There's no reason for them to cross the street towards this building or vice versa. I mean, the pedestrian traffic would most likely be from the site to Dunkin' Donuts, if anything. But the pedestrian traffic is minimal in the area.
All right, and I have, now it's a question concern type of thing. You sell a vehicle, okay, at the auction. I'm talking a regular four-wheeled vehicle that you can drive on the road. Are you going to be getting dealer plates or 20-day plates, or how are these people, if you're not going to supply a dealer plate or a 20-day, 10-day plate, going to be able to, other than have to bring a tow truck with them,
Right.
get the vehicle off the lot?
Yes, essentially, yes. We do not. The dealer plates will be used, if we get the dealer plates, will be used to bring the vehicle to the lot. Once the vehicle is sold, it's the buyer's responsibility to remove it from the lot. If they don't remove it within 24, well, they have to remove it immediately. Beyond that, it will be stored inside in the building, and they'll pay for storage. But as for the removal of the vehicle, tow truck, trailer, or it will be a large portion of the buyers will most likely be dealers with their own plates.
Okay.
The reason being, I think, asking that question is because that tow trucks or flatbeds or car carriers are going to add to a large amount of traffic in that particular part of the
Well,
road.
it's either they drive their car or they drive a tow truck
Right.
to the auction. So it's one vehicle or the other.
Okay.
Either way, it's a vehicle.
Yes, I'm just picturing, as you said, that used car by Bypass 28 there. When they have an auction, cars are all over the place, and I can almost picture, if you've got dealers coming in, having wreckers parked all over Route 3, because your parking lot is not going to be big enough to hold them all.
Well, we don't expect a crowd in excess of, let's say, 100, and that's people. The parking lot, we don't predict that the parking lot will ever exceed the high day that this old Zyla's auction house got on a weekend. The parking is more than adequate for what we expect, and like I said, we do not expect it to go. We're not doing a large-scale operation. And again, ma'am, this is more of a seasonal thing. This auction is only going to be 6 months, and then Mr. Morgan will be filling the place back up with storage. And then once the facility is empty again, then the auctions will take place. The vast majority of the auction will take place inside.
But I'm worried about those 6 months, because you're not going to get the same amount of flatbeds and wreckers in that parking lot as you did cars during the auction.
Right, but a large majority of the buyers will be dealers with dealer plates.
Okay.
And once a car runs through, and again, it will be, we don't expect that we will be running a car auction every weekend. It could be smaller items that could fit in the back of a pickup truck. It could be lawn tractors. It could be, trade-ins or whatever from a lawn and garden type deal. So, but we're not doing small items. But the idea behind the car is just to be forthright and say, listen, this is if I might use it, the worst case scenario where we're actually going to have a car auction. But most of the time, it will be smaller items. But we do have to go through the hoops to and be forthright and
Because
upfront with
when
you.
I read this, it was wholesale automobile and equipment, and to me, automobile and equipment go together. I wasn't thinking of snowmobiles, lawn tractors, motorcycles, or anything other than vehicle
The
items.
reason for the wholesale retail auto is, well, so for forthright with you, that we say we will have an auto auction there. Will we have an auto auction there every Saturday? No, it might be one Saturday, like I said, could be motorcycles, and they'll be gone. I mean, those fit in the back of the pickup truck or wherever they are. But for the reason of the state, if we do get, in order to do this, in order to sell X amount of vehicles on any one given day or in a given year, we have to have a dealer's license. So in order to do that, we have to, follow and abide by all the laws of the town and the state and everything else. So the state will verify that you have approved this site for the situation if that happens.
I'm very well aware of that, yeah.
So that's all it comes down to. So we're just trying to be forthright.
Thank you. Tony?
You can have auctions every weekend for 6 months, or every other weekend, or
It
once a
depends on
month?
it depends on the market. Ideally, we'd like to have one every weekend. Will we have one every weekend? It depends. This is a 6-month trial of a business. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then it's gone, and we'll move on to a different location. We're not sure if the location will work. It's a good location. We believe it'll work, but every weekend it'll be a tough business to do every weekend. But again, that is the best case for us. Is we may run one every Saturday, and it only on Saturdays, and we don't expect a large crowd. The auctions you're not getting those huge crowds that you would think you do.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing. Would anybody like to speak in favor of this? Anyone who'd like to speak against it? Close the public hearing, and do I hear a motion? Go ahead.
I'll move we grant a special exception under section 2.02.3 C1 of the zoning ordinance to permit an accessory retail and wholesale automobile and equipment auction use within the C2 General Commercial District. The parcel is located at 526 DW Highway in the C2 General Commercial and Aquifer Conservation Districts and Wellhead Protection Area. Tax map 5D2, Lot 1, case 2015-22.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? One against. 410. All right, thank you. It's
Thank you
passed.
very much.
I understand it's 30 days. You can start anytime you want, but,
We won't be starting until 2016.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
never said that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. The next item on the agenda is Stephen and Amanda Venezia.
Pretty good.
Thank you. And Maverick Development Corp. Inc., owner, requesting a special exception under section 2.02.1 B2 of the zoning ordinance to allow an accessory dwelling unit. The parcel is located at 2 Hamilton Court in the residential district, tax map 6D, lot 047-06, and case number 2015-23. And if you would state your names also, please.
Stephen Venezia, applicant.
Steve Polino, Maverick Development.
Do you have the green light on those?
You should have a bright green light on.
Yep, on
You
mine.
do?
All right, and again, you've filled out a form here for the accessory dwelling unit. If one of you would like to read it first, please.
Sure. The proposed use for an alternative dwelling unit is for a single person. It's actually my mother. The home will be designed so that the ADU meets all the zoning requirements and is aesthetically pleasing. It complies with all the requirements of 2.02.1 B2. The specific site is an appropriate location for such a use or uses in terms of overall community development because the property is about 7/10 of an acre in a 5-lot subdivision with similarly designed homes. The alternative dwelling unit will be located behind the garage, so the street view of the home will not be impacted.
All right, are there any questions? Go ahead.
The use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood and shall produce no diminution of real estate values in the neighboring area because the design and nature of the house will likely make it the most valuable home in the subdivision, increasing neighboring property values, and will be designed similarly to have no negative impact on those neighboring properties.
Go ahead.
There will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians because the alternative dwelling unit will have no effect as it's located on a cul-de-sac with ample parking for all adults on the premises. That an adequate parking area is provided for motor vehicles on the premises because there'll be an attached garage with 3 parking spaces and a driveway with at least 3 to 4 spaces. Only 3 cars will be parked on the property at the time of construction.
Right.
The alternative dwelling unit is contained within or will be in addition to an existing or proposed single-family detached dwelling. Actually, the entire home, including the ADU, will be constructed together using one single plan.
I have a question on that one.
Go ahead.
So, in looking at this plan here, the ADU sits behind the garage. It almost, and if I'm looking at this correctly, it almost looks like it could almost be in a separate apartment. Because I see that it has an entrance, and the entrance goes into the mudroom or the garage or the kitchen of the ADU. And I'm not sure, maybe that half bath that's off the kitchen, maybe that's shared, but it almost looks like its own apartment. Am I missing something? Like, it almost looks like it could be almost should anything change or should someone else move into the home, they could rent that out as an apartment.
Well, this is a floor plan that we currently have over there on Hamilton Court, and we've just designed this to go behind it. The reason it's designed like that is that they would like to have.
Your mic's not on.
Yeah,
Just
you
push the
push
button.
Push
the
closer
button.
to you.
There you go.
There.
The lights on. Test. No, it's not.
It goes into the mics for the TV.
Yeah. So
How's that?
that's right.
Yeah.
Better. His mom wants an entrance in the front. That's one of the reasons why it's laid out the way you see it. She'd like to have she doesn't want to have to go around the back to enter. She wants to be able to go in through the front. So that's why it was designed like that, so that she can enter the front of the home, just like Steve and his wife could enter their residence from the front of the home.
Okay.
Just so you're aware, the basements are actually connected. There's an open basement. There's one singular foundation, so it would kind of be impractical to, rent it. I mean, you'd have access to one another's house.
And that's part of the ADU is they have to be, it has to be an internal dwelling, internal connection. So.
Yep.
All right.
You all set on
Yeah,
that?
no other questions.
Okay, and number 6?
The ADU contains no more than 1 bedroom. That's correct. I'm sorry.
No, I think we're all set on that one.
The ADU does not exceed 1,000 square feet in area or 50% of the area of the heated living space within the principal dwelling unit area, whichever is smaller. That's correct. I believe it's actually 996 square feet because of lumber measurements.
Yeah, 999 you have down.
Yeah, I think because that's an odd number, it's a lot of waste, so we reduced it to 996, but
Okay.
it's definitely under 1,000. And I believe the overall square footage of the home will be about 2,500 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
The ADU is connected internally to the principal dwelling unit, both via that hallway and the foundation. The ADU occupancy is to be restricted to family members only, with the term family defined as individuals related by blood, marriage, or adoption to the fee simple owner, occupants of the principal dwelling unit. Yes, it'll be my mother. The ADU is designed to remain functionally dependent on the principal dwelling unit and will not have provisions for separate utilities, garages, driveways, yard, or other similar amenities. That's correct. We'll share the garage, and there'll be single utilities, electricity, propane, actually. So.
Okay, all right. All right, are there any further questions from the board?
Yeah, me.
You? Okay.
Did you say that this ADU is going to be built behind the house?
Behind the garage, yeah.
Behind the garage?
So it'll be like an L shape. believe there was a drawing submitted, I don't know if.
Yeah, there is a drawing. Well, when I went over there was nothing there but a pile of sand.
Yeah, we're pre-construction.
I know, that's what I was, I was saying a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I see your point, you're building something if we say no. I mean, I understand you want to go forward with that.
Yes, sir.
It's just a little hard to sort of picture 4 walls on a flat piece of paper.
Understood.
Is that building next to you, that other house going to be similar to what you're building?
Yes, sir. Actually, the home next to it is going to be the same home. It's going to be a little larger. We'll add a 3-car garage, and then this in-law will go behind it.
So, are all the homes in that development going to have in-laws?
No, just this. Well,
this one.
so far, just
So
this
far,
one.
this one.
There's 5 homes in there. I can say that 3 of them are not. 3 of them are, single-family homes.
Okay.
And there's right now there's just this one, but there is 1 lot left, so it's possible.
All right. Again, any questions or comments? And do you have anything further to add, sir?
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right, I'll open the public hearing. Does anyone want to testify either in favor or against this ADU? Attorney Michael?
I know these folks, and they're good people, and I know Steve wants to.
No, Attorney, would you step forward, please?
I know both these folks, and they're good people, and I believe this will be an addition to that area, and I hope you support it.
All right, thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing and motion, please.
Madam Chairman, could I beat somebody to it? Or? I would like to make a motion
They're
to...
fighting over you.
Yeah, right. I'm going to make a motion for special exception under Section 2-02, 1B2 of the zoning ordinance to permit an accessory dwelling unit, ADU. Parcels is located at 2 Hamilton Court in the residential district, tax map 6D, lot 047-06, case 2015-23.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Lynn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? 500.
Just a minute. I just caught this on the,
Oh,
for the staff. I want to rephrase it if I can possibly.
all right, you want to amend?
I
your
want to
motion?
amend the motion. Should the board vote to grant the request of special exception, staff recommends that the approval be contingent upon the following. Execution. It's been a long day.
Exception.
Exception
Execution.
of delegation of covenant for the accessory ADU from will be provided by staff. Payment of the Hillsborough County Register of Deeds. Recording fees for recording of the declaration of a covenant for the access of dwelling unit.
You're good to go.
Yeah, just be.
Is that okay? Is that okay with you?
What you're saying is that the acceptance is based on staff recommendations?
Yes.
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 As printed?
Yes.
And so,
I'll second that.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we've already voted on it.
Yeah.
Let's re-vote again. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. 500.
Yeah, I apologize on that. You got 30 days. In other words, you can start building as quick as you want, but you should, we have to wait 30 days, just in case somebody comes out of the woodwork and say, gee, wait a minute, I don't like this. But it's up to you.
And how long is the approval good for? Is it
It's
indefinite
good.
or?
It's good.
2 years. Okay. And
2 years.
And
Isn't
the
it
staff will provide the covenants for recording?
Excuse me a
Oh, I'm
moment.
sorry.
Isn't it 2 years,
2
Jillian?
years.
2 years.
Thank you. And the staff will provide the covenants for recording, and I'll just give a check?
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to Merrimack.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime, we need the money.
Tony, really, seriously. Can somebody-
Who elected
you gotta talk
him?
to somebody.
I was only kidding. Oh, all right. this is the lot we were looking at. We're gonna be in problem if it wasn't.
All right, the next item on the agenda is Vasilius Gakis, petitioner owner, requesting a variance from section 3.02A of the zoning ordinance to permit the creation of a lot with less than 100,000 square feet of contiguous upland area. The parcel is located at 17 Beaverbrook Drive in the Residential and Aquifer Conservation Districts, Tax Map 6C, Lot 406, case number 2015-25. And Attorney Michael, you're going to speak?
Good evening. Yes, I'm going to speak along with Mike Class from my office regarding this application. Good evening. Michael's going to hand out some smaller maps that may be helpful to you. We also have the larger map here, but I'll kind of take you through initially where we're going with this. and get the other
We don't accept anything at the, okay, thank you.
Can you hold on for a second? Can I ask him a question?
Go ahead.
No more
Mr.
paper? Is that
Yeah,
what we're
Mr.
doing?
Mr. Michaels,
Yeah.
this piece of property, if you're going into the road, coming in from, well, either way, say you come in from the Patton Road, which side of the property, which side of the road is this property on?
Well, there's Beaverbrook Drive, Patton Road. The north face is this way, so it depends on where you're coming from Patton Road. But the Gakases own this entire 71-plus acre parcel. Watch my pen, it comes around here, here, here. We own that strip of land here, 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 all the way around. So when you say Patton Road, it depends on which way you're coming. If you're coming this way, Tony, it's on the right. Coming this way, it's on the left.
Okay.
I don't know what else to.
We came Joppa to Patton to Beaverbrook.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm asking this is because I was a little bit confused, which is not hard, anyways, about where the land was, and I just wanted to make sure that I was looking at the right property. Thank you.
Well, this is the area that we're talking about. The proposal's to create a 5.2 acre lot, more or less, for one single family dwelling. It's in the residential zone. This is a very tough area. Back in 1966, if you look at an old tax map, there's a plan that was recorded at the Registry of Deeds called Babusick Estates, I should say, with well over 150 lots. Not a lot of them were built on. And there's an old grid that shows this entire area and most of its wetlands being lots. And I'll just wave it at you. You don't have to accept it, but that's what this looked like. And the red area that you see is the area that's proposed for this lot. You can see there's a large area around it that none of these lots were developed. They were all smaller lots at the time, but met whatever the zoning standards were at that time in Merrimack. The issue here, what we did is Meridian scooped up all of the available upland soils here. There's some uplands in far corners, far reaches of this parcel that are almost impossible. I say impossible. Nothing's impossible to get to, but this particular area where we do have frontage on Patton Road in a couple of places, it meets the frontage requirements, I will tell you that. It meets the size requirements as far as physical size. It's the 100,000 square feet. What we have is 82,750 contiguous. So it's a fairly large contiguous area. This is not a small contiguous area. It's fairly large, and it's in the area. Let me pull back to this plan. Here, if you watch my pen, this whole area here is contiguous upland or dry land. That's if we want to use that term. We also have another portion of, I'll use the term again, dry land, 21,750 feet, but it's not contiguous. It's over in this area of the lot. The lot itself contains over 100,000 square feet of upland, 104,500. But again, because it's not contiguous, it brings us to the board to discuss this. And as I say, we tried to drag in every area of contiguous soils because this butts against wetlands. The rest of this butts against a large area that's wet, that's never been developed, and very likely will never be developed. So this is really what we're looking at. And again, our request is to allow one house on this parcel. Again, it's a difficult parcel because of this. The Gackuses did merge this a number of years back, so they did merge all of these old substandard lots to get those more or less off the books. They did do that. They didn't have to do that, but they did do it. And again, the proposal tonight is to gain a variance for that particular area for one single-family dwelling. We think this is very reasonable and very fair, and I'll let Mike take you through the criteria now. Thank you. I'll tell you that the smaller maps were submitted with the application with you. I don't know what you say. You don't receive paper. You have maps like this with your materials, Madam Chair.
They're not color coded.
That's not color coded.
This is off?
No, it's on.
It's on? Can you hear me?
It's on.
Okay.
Right, Attorney Michael,
Yes.
would you read the application for the variance, please?
Well, we're going to take you say read the application. It's an application as stated in your thing. It's a request for Section 3.02A of the zoning orders to permit the creation of a lot with less than 100,000 square feet of contiguous upland area. And again, it's near 17 Beaverbrook Road in Merrimack. And now we'll take you through the specific itemization of the 5 points that are
Right,
contained
please.
in the requirements for a variance by statute. Is that satisfactory, Madam Chair?
Please, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So that task will actually be mine, Michael Class, with Attorney Michael. And this is consistent with the narrative that we filed alongside the application. I'll begin and run them down. If you have any questions, please
Stop after each one,
interrupt,
so.
give a pause.
Right,
Okay,
please.
perfect. So first off, granting the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. As has been repeated to you multiple times, I'm sure, to be contrary to the public interest, the variance must unduly in a marked degree conflict with the ordinance such that it violates the basic zoning objectives. Now, in my review of the ordinance, there appear to be 2 specific provisions that apply here. The first is the general Section 1.01 purpose, which goes to the general health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the town. The second comes from Section 3.02.1A, which identifies the purpose of the residential land use district. And I'm not going to read that verbatim. However, I will note that the purpose of that is to discourage 3 different discrete uses, which are the pollution of aquifers, surface, and groundwater, so essentially discourage water pollution, to discourage the misuse of sensitive lands, and to discourage unnecessary or excessive expense to the town. So in this particular case, when you look at this particular proposed parcel and the property, you see that it is an oversized lot. This is more than 5 acres in a neighborhood with otherwise smaller residential lots. There's more than adequate contiguous uplands, and I believe the number is greater than 82,000 square feet for a residential building envelope and a proposed septic system. And there's sort of a mock-up septic shown on the plans before you. This proposed lot conforms with all other dimensional requirements. We're looking to utilize this 5+ acre lot consistent with the adjacent neighborhood in terms of residential use. And we have access to a public way and, as I mentioned, adequate uplands for septic. So when those factors are sort of overlaid on top of Section 1.01's purpose and Section 3.02.1A's purpose, I believe that it's clear that this particular proposal will not unduly or in a marked degree conflict with the ordinance such that it conflicts with the basic zoning objectives. Any questions on point 1?
We all set?
All right.
Go ahead with 2.
This application observes the spirit of the ordinance. Obviously, this is related to what I just said. The purpose of Section 1.01 concerns general welfare. The purpose of Section 3.02 is to discourage water pollution, inappropriate use of lands, and unnecessary town expense. Here, the proposed lot contains more than the minimum total contiguous uplands and close to the required 100,000 square feet, more than sufficient to satisfy a residential lot and septic. This proposed lot is fully compliant dimensionally otherwise, and it's consistent with the surrounding neighborhood.
Questions? Go ahead.
Granting this variance will do substantial justice, and when talking about substantial justice, typically you hear a balancing test employed, and that's basically that substantial justice is done when loss of denying a variance exceeds the gain to the public in strictly enforcing the ordinance. Here, denying the minimal contiguous uplands variance that we're requesting will not result in any public gain, because the lot, as we're proposing, is more than adequate to allow for safe and appropriate development for a single residential use lot, and it's part of a much larger lot that the applicant owns. This proposed lot will be used consistent with the district's permitted uses in the surrounding neighborhood. Moreover, denying the request will result in substantial loss to the applicant by preventing the reasonable subdivision of a large lot in a residential district. Here, the loss of denying the variance greatly exceeds any gain to the public and warrants granting the requested variance.
Questions? Go ahead.
Fourth point, for the following reasons, the values of the surrounding properties will not be diminished. First, this variance will not alter the character of the neighborhood. The permitted residential uses in this district will not produce significant traffic, noise, or odor, and the proposed lot meets all other dimensional requirements.
All right, go ahead, please.
And finally, with respect to the unnecessary hardship, Attorney Michael sort of went an overview of the unique characteristics, but for the record, this proposed lot is an oversized lot. It's unique in terms of its the confluence of its uplands and wetlands and the boundary with the neighboring existing lots to the north. There's no fair or substantial relationship between the purpose of the ordinance and the facts of this application. This discussion is similar to the previous that we've just had. The public purpose of Section 1.01 goes to the town's general health and safety. The public purpose of Section 3.02 goes to discouraging water pollution, encouraging appropriate use of land, and minimizing town costs. As those are applied to this application, the proposed lot contains an adequate building envelope to safely place a residential structure and septic. There's no other zoning relief is requested or required. The lot size isn't an issue, overcrowding is not an issue, access isn't an issue, and this proposed use is consistent with the neighborhood. And the subpoint B to that is that this proposed use is reasonable because it's permitted in the ordinance in this district, and that being residential.
All right, thank you.
I'd like to, could I point out one thing? I believe this is going to be on town water as well, so there won't be a well in the area. It won't impact the water issues. The plan is to use municipal water.
Does that include
No, it'll be a septic system. State-approved, town-approved septic. We have more than enough space on the 5-acre parcel with the uplands to install a very satisfactory septic system, not unlike others in the area. And there are a lot of lots that are quite a bit smaller that are using septics in that area right now.
I can't tell by your map. Is there an elevation that maybe I'm not seeing between where the house is proposed and the houses on King Henry Court, 6C 542 and 6C 541?
I'll let Ken Clinton from Meridian address that issue for you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. Ken Clinton with Meridian Land Services. And as Greg indicated, my firm prepared this plan. We delineated the wetlands and located them with survey. As far as the elevation difference, we did not do a full topographic survey of the property to do a septic design yet, as we were unsure that we would indeed pursue this lot and then file for a variance for it. So while we don't have the actual elevation data, our septic designers were on site and they evaluated the property as they flagged the wetlands, and they're quite comfortable and confident that these proposed or potential locations for either the house, septic, driveway, etc., are suitable and can be fully designed. So as Greg indicated, that's both a town and state permit for the septic system.
I just want to make, there's no runoff into the back, some people's backyards there. And that's what I just want to make sure.
No, we have no reason to believe that there'd be any runoff more than any other yard or space or improvements in the area.
How close is the wetlands on this property?
Sorry, could you repeat
How
the question?
close are the wetlands on this property?
Well, in this particular case, what we not only show the delineated wetlands, we show the 25-foot wetland buffer line as well as the 40-foot wetland setback. So when you ask how close are they to the property, well, the wetlands are on the 5-acre lot in general, and you can see the relative distance between the delineated wetlands, the buffer, the setback, and then this is your average or typical size house in the neighborhood. You can see that it's fairly typical in size, and it can easily fit there and be shifted around and add on to. So I'm
I'm
quite
more worried about the septic than I am about the house.
well. This a septic has 2 levels of setbacks, generally 50 foot and 75 feet, and this is at this point 50 feet. But based on the nature of the location of the house, this septic system can move around. Not only that, that's shown as in what's called an Enviro system, typical size. It can be a pre-treatment if needed be, and that way the leach field itself, the size of that gets substantially reduced. So again, the gentleman who did the wetland delineation is also a permitted septic designer, and he said absolutely without question this is suitable for a 4-bedroom leach field.
The plan, Tony, is to make sure that it does meet both the town and state regulations. We're not requesting any other relief. We expect it to meet it like any other lot. If we had another, 10 or 12,000 square feet nearby of uplands, we wouldn't be here. We'd be all set with it. Yes.
No, you're absolutely right. Ballpark, just because this map's a little hard to read from this way. What are we looking at, like total around the house, the yard itself, not going into the wetlands? Are we talking half an acre, an acre?
82. We've got 82,750 square feet of uplands in that area, contiguous.
Well, in case people want to build a shed or a pool or something, and it's not going to be end up in the wetlands area. That type of
They
thing.
can't.
Okay.
They can't. I mean, we've got very stringent regulations about, they're never going to be in the wetlands. I mean, somebody could come in and talk about, they could file a variance for maybe being in the buffer a bit. That's not uncommon because of the size of it. But nobody's going to be in any wetlands. We're not anywhere near the wetlands with this proposal.
No questions? Any further questions from the board? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone would you like to speak?
Thank you again. I just wanted to follow up on that one point, Mr. Dwyer. For scale and reference, this lot here, I believe, is about 20,000 square feet, or just shy 20,000, where this contiguous area is 80.
Okay.
So we're talking about roughly 4 times the size of this adjacent lot. This lot is about 30,000, so we're still greater than 2.5 the times of that lot. So from that perspective, I think you can probably see the relationship.
Thank you very much. That's
Yeah, and Mike pointed that out, that in this area, this lot is quite a bit bigger, and our uplands are bigger than most of these lots in this area, just our uplands.
Are we all set? Attorney Michael?
I'm all set. Thank you. We're all set. Thank you very much, madam.
I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who'd like to testify for or against this request? All right, close the public hearing. If there's no further comments or questions, could I hear a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Velasquez Gakis, petitioner owner variance request under section 3.02A of the zoning ordinance to permit the creation of a lot with less than 100,000 square feet of continuous upland area. The parcel is located at 17 Beaverbrook Drive in the R Residential and Aquifer Conservation Districts, tax map 6C, lot 406, case number 2015-25.
And there may have been a comment from your staff person about we have to go to the plan. We know we have to go to the planning board. I don't know if that's in there, Mr.
Actually, it
Dwyer.
is.
I just thought I'd bring that to your attention.
No,
so
and I
that's all.
appreciate it because I just looked down and saw it. Should the board approve applicant to obtain subdivision approval from the Merrimack Planning Board? Thank you very much for bringing that
Thank
up.
you. No, appreciate it.
Second.
All right, Lenny is the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No.
Huh?
I'm not doing it.
Hold on.
He knows. It's Attorney
I know, I just thought you'd. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is discussions for possible action regarding other items of concern. And Jillian, you have something?
Yes, I just want to remind you that next month is the annual meeting for election of officers and the review of the bylaws. So keep that in mind and be ready to talk about that.
I actually, real quick, we've talked in the past about the preamble and tweaking that. Is there any thoughts of putting in the preamble how they should approach as far as you could outline that criteria, or is that something maybe we should address in every single case? Because it seems like we're constantly telling people, read from the 5 points or read from with and I don't know. Is it something we need to, I think it's mentioned in the preamble. I don't know if people, but sometimes people aren't listening.
Aren't listening, or they don't understand what you've said.
Okay. So then address it on a case by case?
They have to, yeah.
The preamble?
There may be a way of making that preamble more concise and specific to what we're expecting for people.
I'm not looking to extend it out and make it, but it's, I know that it does talk to that. It just seems like we're always telling people that, you know, the board, but I didn't know if there's any way we might, any wording we could put in there, but I was just thinking as I was reading it and the fact that Fran tells everybody that.
I think we can.
Lynn, would you like to work on it?
I can do that with some advice from others,
I would,
Okay.
I'll take a look at it.
but I think you're right. And it might help speed the process and make it smoother so that we're not constantly saying the same thing to people.
Yeah.
And some of them
Make it, and
just
make it,
don't listen. They're going to
Yep.
say what they want to say.
I agree, but if you make it more concise, you may be able to,
It is, it's a long, wordy
you might be able to
document,
make that.
yeah, for people to sit there and listen through to the whole thing.
Send me
I'll send you a copy.
suggestions, and
Can you email the preamble? Do you have the preamble in the Word document?
Yeah.
Can you
Yep.
email that out to us?
and send suggestions to me, and I'll see if I can pull them all together.
Okay.
Yeah, bring that to the next meeting. That's definitely something we can
Should we make
review
that a
at the same
motion?
time. No, that's
Okay,
not
did you hear
necessary.
that, Tony?
Is he awake?
Yeah, I'm awake.
We're going to try and
Yeah, I heard.
reword the preamble, if you have any suggestions.
I don't.
See right here, the minimum requirements are listed in the form you receive from the Community Development Office, and it would be helpful if you proceed on this basis. That's what needs to be, because that's what we're saying all the time. So, all right, I'll take a shot at it too, but and we'll coordinate.
Also, I know we've spoken of this before, Jillian. I thought there was going to be something put down on the bottom of the form that we do not accept any last-minute paperwork just before.
We could put that in the preamble.
That might be a good place for it.
Yeah.
Because we ran into that again tonight.
Is there a reason that we don't? Is it not legal to accept?
We had decided I think over a year ago, not
Yeah,
to accept
more
it,
than that, yeah.
maybe 2 years?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking there might be times when last-minute things come to light, whether it's by dealing with community development or, I don't think what they were talking about tonight was anything over and above what we had.
No, but there are times that we've run into people who come in with a stack like this for each one of us of pictures and things to look at, because they have a complaint against a neighbor or a complaint against this or
Okay.
that, and they're trying to make their point, and we just can't sit there and go through all of this and have them explain what each picture is or why.
Is that something community development can work with the petitioners to say, you need everything ahead of time?
Oh, we do.
And so therefore, on a case-by-case, I mean, I think there might be times when we need to see something that has come in last minute, but certainly not with stacks and stacks of
Well,
documents
chips
that I...
on their
that I-
shoulders type thing.
No,
So
I
if you
understand, but
say
I think
yes to
community
one, you have to
development can
say
deal with
yes
that.
to another, the next one.
I was going to say, I think that the board decided that if you're going to allow one person, you're going to have to allow everybody.
Mhm.
And And I think when the decision was made was because the board did not have time to review extra materials in the meeting in order to appropriately decide upon the new materials.
Let me ask, when a petition goes out, for example, any petition goes out, you have to notify all the abutters. The abutters get to see all the material that's presented, like the 5 points and all of that. Do they get that? What does an abutter get when they're notified?
They get a notice that says basically what's in the agenda. And if
Okay.
they want to review the materials, they need to come in and request to do so.
So part of the concern is if you have materials that you didn't give community development and then you bring them the night, if somebody's gone in to take a look at the
Oh, I
materials.
understand that, but
they
I'm
have
thinking
to
community
just see it.
development can say, if you've got stuff that you want to bring before the board, I need to have it now so that I can notify the abutters.
Yeah.
That's made clear when they're bringing their applications in. People still
But I'm thinking
bring
we
more
need
in.
some sort of mechanism so that if there is, I'm not talking about people complaining about abutters. I'm talking about something that is a legitimate concern, that is something that is brought to light at the last minute for a court decision or something else, that we need some sort of mechanism to allow that to come before the board.
I would say it's a case by case basis, but
Yep, I agree.
but a majority, 90% of the time, and I think Tony and Fran will agree with me, and even Lenny, is that 90% of the time it was pictures of this, or it was
I
just
totally agree
stuff
with you.
that was not necessarily, we just didn't need.
And I think community development can say, you can't bring anything else before the board to prevent that from happening, so that on the one case in 10 where it's something that's pertinent, that we really do need the information in order to make a legitimate decision, we have the ability to accept it.
I would say that the option exists for you to table the item so that you can review additional materials for the next meeting if that comes up.
Or we can actually recess for a few minutes to look at it also.
You have that option.
All right, well, if that's available, then we have the option to do that.
Yes.
So that covers it.
Because, just to give you an example, we had a neighborhood problem at one point,
Oh, yeah.
and she was bringing in pictures.
Oh, I understand the issue.
And this is in the
Yeah.
summer, and she's bringing in pictures from the winter and
Oh, I understand the
complaining,
issue.
you know?
But I'm thinking of times when it is a legitimate issue, that there is something that is last minute, that is valid for us to consider, and we need to have some sort of a mechanism that we can consider it.
And I think we do, I think we do, we just have not come to one of those
Right.
situations
Okay.
in which,
Well,
we haven't
well,
come to one of those 10%ers
No,
yet.
but Fran
I
has
agree with
just
you on that,
said.
I agree with you on that.
Fran has
yeah.
just said we do have the mechanism
Yeah.
Right,
for doing
we
that
can
by
recess, yeah.
recessing and then
Yeah.
coming back. So as long as we do, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And it has come up where the board's decided to continue an item and review additional materials in between meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Well,
just did
I
it a couple
hesitate to
months ago. Yeah.
I hesitate to recess to another month when sometimes things are timely.
well,
But if
well,
we
well-
have the ability to do it that
Well,
evening,
especially if it's not a, quote, a rush item
Mm-hmm.
where the applicant agrees to this, so we have
Yep,
the
no,
time to
I
look over.
understand. It sounds like we have the ability to do what I'm asking us to be able to do within our confines, so that's good. And that's fine.
Okay.
I have no thoughts.
Okay, anything else, Julian?
That's it.
Okay, minutes of the June 24th, 2015 meeting. Do I hear any?
I move we approve the minutes of June 24, 2015 as presented.
Any corrections?
I'll
I'm
second.
sorry. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
I abstain.
2 abstentions. 302. All right, and could I hear the magic words, please?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
There we go. We're adjourned.
Derek D. Artemian. Allison Ray Atkinson. Yasmin Nicole Osmi.